was actually a novel approach in Judaism that kind of took store nowadays, but back then it was not so popular. It is that in fact when somebody is handicapped, they actually have special abilities from God to overcome the thing that they're challenges. So that's how the Rebbe referred to the soldiers. He said, you guys are not the Echad Chabad. You are not the wounded of the IDF. You are not the handicapped of the IDF. In fact, you are the Mitsuyanei Chabad. You are the special, the greatest of the IDF. Because you guys will go and you will overcome your challenges in life. So that's a lesson from this organization to us. So the question comes that a lot of people want to know is they say, how can we help Israel? So there's a lot of different things you can do to help Israel, the situation in Israel. But in Judaism, we really believe that everything starts at home. Starting with creating Israel out of your body and out of your house. So how do you do that? Well, we believe Israel is the land which God promised us. It's the Holy Land. It's the land where God is more present. So we have to make our homes God more present in our homes. So how can we do that? Number one, you can do a mitzvah. Prime mitzvah that men do is we fill on. Women like the Shabbat candles. Something that everyone should do no matter what is give charity. So we have these things in the back. They're called arks. They're little boats. And you've seen them before probably if you've been around. And what we do is we distribute them. They're free. Feel free to take one. And you just fill it up with a coin every day. And ARC actually stands for Random Acts of Kindness. Or Acts of Random Kindness. Or Acts of Routine Kindness. So I suggest everyone take one home. You see it says instructions, and as soon as it's full, you can give it to a charity, or you can give it to a person who might be more needy than you, and hopefully they'll get the opportunity to pass it on to the next person. So that is these over here in the back. We also have the invitation to the class, and we got kippahs as well to say Chabad of Prescott. Now, as we go on, I want to just say thank you to the mayor for coming. And I wanted to present the mayor with something. I never presented him with anything. But it's something that I thought was really special. And actually, it is something which in Judaism we value, not only for Jewish people, but also for Gentiles. And this is called a siddur. It's a prayer book. Now, there's some prayers that are really Jewish. But there are many, not most, that are not. They're just monotheistic. So I wanted to give him a siddur. I could just give the mayor a siddur. So I put a little sticker of him in front of the menorah, and it says, La Hashem Ha'aretz. We write that at the beginning of our books. It means this truly, everything we have belongs to God. So you can't put your name on things, right? They really belong to God. So if we just put that and we say, well, God is lending it to me. Dedicate it to the mayor on behalf of the library and the present. May all your prayers be answered for good. Sometimes when we pray, we don't necessarily pray for the right thing because we don't necessarily know it. So we always pray amongst Jewish people that all our prayers, God should say, that's not what you want. This is what you want. And I'm going to give it to you. So I'm going to give that to the mayor. And I just want to read the first prayer, which I think is a very applicable prayer, that in the siddur, every morning Jewish people, the first thing they do is they say, thank you to God. Thank you, God. We don't take life for granted. We don't really deserve anything. We didn't ask to be born. First thing we go, we wake up and we show our gratitude to God for giving us another breath and another day. So we say this prayer. I offer thanks to you, living and eternal King, for you have mercifully restored my soul within me. Your faithfulness in me is great. Every morning that we wake up, no matter how hard our day was in for, we know that if we're breathing right now, God has faith in us. So we have faith in you, God has faith in you, and really every human, God has faith in you, so I wanted to present this to you. It's a siddur. We pray 3 times a day. I'm just kidding. I don't like using mics because back when I was a kid in school, everyone used a mic. It was like the thing that your mind would turn on not to listen. but the mayor will say something about the vote.
Well, I certainly appreciate this gift. I don't know how many people were at the Dennis Prager event the other night. He was very appreciative of what a great city we have and how many people here are really focused on being good and kind people. And he wasn't sure exactly how that happened, but I was hoping that he might mention the fact that we have a mayor. And of course, I've been working through all of these rational Bible verses with Genesis and Exodus and Deuteronomy, and trying to get a copy of Leviticus. And I saw my wife when I was reading through the Old Testament many years ago. I got stuck about halfway through Numbers. That kind of slowed me down.
That's pretty far.
But anyway, thank you very much, Rabbi. It's a pleasure to recognize and support our Jewish community here. This is quite an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Give me a second. I'm actually going to check if they messaged me or if they need help finding a way. All right, they're here. A round of applause for them. Here they are. Come on, don't be shy. Don't be quiet. How are you? Welcome. Raise your hand if your name is Noam. Noam, raise your hand if your name is Ohad. All right, you guys can have a seat. Where's the restroom? Now, I just want to say, this is Rabbi Benzi Sasson. He's a remarkable guy from Brooklyn, and I know that he's having a really strong religious effect on them, and that's probably why they came late. So I just want to present, and so this is Ohad over here, and while we're here, and there are certain things at every event. I just want to tell you something. Every event that I speak at, I'm always nervous. There was a rabbi in Brooklyn back in the day, and someone said, "Are you nervous? How do you do it?" And he said, "Let me tell you something. You're only not nervous if you're not saying anything. If you're saying something, then you'll probably be nervous." So we got our two visitors here, and we already spoke about Belev, Echad, and showed a video. I would like to present them with a kippah. This is a souvenir from Chabad of Prescott. You'll see it's our version here, one of a kind. You can't buy that in any stores in Israel. It has name, QR code, everything. If you need anything from here, I want to come back. And you want to go first? All right. So without further ado, Ohad Roisblatt.
Hi everyone. So first of all, I want to say thank you for waiting for us. There was, heavy traffic, so just get late, but hopefully this session will be meaningful and we will try to explain or to explain to you how is it to be a soldier in Israel, what does it mean to fight in a war, to face terrorists, and that's our approach. Actually, I heard from the rabbi that he spoke about Belev Echad, And actually, what we are doing, that we are doing a tour in different campuses in the States, in order to meet people like you, students, to help them, I don't know, help them to understand a little bit more about Israel, about what it means to be a soldier. And actually, I just short experience that I had, I think 5 years ago, something like that. And we went, Betsy and myself, we went to Kentucky, I think. And actually, we had like, I don't know, 60 students, Jewish students that came. And suddenly during the, I don't know, the session, so half of them just stood up with the Palestinian flags and everything, and we really saw what it means to be a student, a Jewish student in the States. So that's why I believe what we are doing is so important. Just to give them tools and to talk about what are we doing. So I think it's shlichut, dedication, and that's what we're doing. And now Noam, let me introduce you to Noam. Noam is a Golani soldier. He will talk about himself, and he will speak, and then I will speak. Okay? So thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's a beautiful place. My name is Noam Garbi. I'm from Israel. I will tell you my story. I will start in my high school days, going through the military service, the injury, and the rehabilitation. So, yeah, that's me. Okay. Well, a little background about me. In high school, I was considered to be an excellent student in math, English, physics, computer science. A remarkable achievement that I made was third place in Jerusalem, the Bible quiz. And basically, you can say that I was a nerd. But I loved it, and I think. So you may expect, now in Israel, after high school, you have to serve in the army. There are plenty of roles in the army, and a person such as me, you would expect that will serve in a technological intelligence unit that will give him after the service, a career in the high tech, something that fits me. But I wanted to serve in an infantry brigade called the Golani Brigade. It considers to be one of the best units in the IDF, and to me it's the best. So anyway, I wanted to do that because I grew up and heard stories about people who sacrificed their lives and died or got seriously injured from the Jewish people in Israel and throughout the world. And I said to myself, well, I will give these 3 years of my life, and I will risk myself when it's my turn to do the same. So eventually I got recruited to the Golani Brigade. I was very happy, and in March 2018, that was the day I was recruited to the army, and started the training. 8 months of training, teaching you how to fight, how to sleep in nature, and all that. And after that, I went to be a soldier in the Lebanese border. It's the northern evacuate Israel, and they destroyed it. I was guarding this operation along with my friend. After that, I went to a commander's course where I learned how to be a commander, how to lead a class of 10 soldiers, approximately 10 soldiers, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. That also it took 4 months, and after that I went to be a commander in the Gaza border of soldiers that were a longer time than me in the IDF. And that's the main difficulty, because they don't really recognize you as a commander, because you know they are older than you and they are more experienced, etc. And but eventually we got together pretty well. I mean, I wasn't like a commander if there were. It's not like being a commander of rookies. It's more like a bigger brother. So I did that, and the Gaza border was a lot more intense than Lebanon, because a lot of terrorists try to attack Israel, and it's more frequent, their activities. And we dealt with 2 times that terrorists tried to attack us. We managed to kill them. And after some time at the Gaza border, I was offered a promotion to be a platoon sergeant. It's the second command of a platoon of 40 soldiers, about 40 soldiers. And I agreed. I went to be a platoon sergeant of rookies, and I helped in their training to get them from 18-year-old boys to soldiers, combatants in the Golden Brigade. During their training, we were in Jerusalem before a ceremony of swearing of allegiance, and it was Thursday. It was the night between Wednesday and Thursday, about 2 a.m. If you know Jerusalem, we were in the German colony neighborhood, and I was in the head of the department of the platoon and told them to stand in 2 lines and fix their looks, you know, so they would look good. And during that, a terrorist driving a vehicle came behind me and ran me over and got one of my soldiers. And my injury, I was the first target. I was his main target, and my injury included one break in the left shaft, and 2 breaks in the skull, and subdural bleeding. It's like not inside the brain, but it's one of the layers of the brain, and that mainly what risked my life. Now, most of the odds were that I will die. They immediately evacuated me to Chabad hospitals in Jerusalem, and the doctors, what they did was sawing my skull, half of my upper skull, because the brain was gaining more volume because of the blood, and it needed place so there won't be any pressure. And I was weak, unconscious, and I was connected to a breathing system. after that, I opened my eyes, but I don't recall. I was on a massive amount of, how do you call it? Medications, yes. And after 2 weeks, I start to remember. I asked my parents were there. I asked them, what am I doing here in the hospital? What's going on? And they told me I was injured, and my soldiers were also injured. I asked if someone died. They told me no, and I was really happy about it because I don't know what I would do if one of my soldiers would have lose his life, because after all, a commander is like a parent or like a big brother. You are responsible about them. You have to bring them home alive, well. But no one was dead, thankfully. And I started the rehabilitation. Now I was without a big part of my skull, and it was painful. Like about after an hour I was awake, I started to feel a great pain. I had to rest. I couldn't stand because I was in a wheelchair because the leg was broken. But I had to study I had to learn how to speak again because I forgot some words, and I had to see a psychologist and all that because I suffer from PTSD. Everyone in the hospital told me that I shouldn't rush it. I should take my time. It's okay. It should be about at least 8 months, they said. And I didn't want it to be 8 months. Mainly because the food in the hospital, I'm not spoiled, I'm not that, but the food in the hospital, and they never heard about salt. And after 3 weeks, I got home. I still lacked part of my skull, but the people in the rehab, the staff in the rehab, told me that I'm pretty much okay mentally. However, I did continue to see troubles there. I see the psychologist for therapy. And this is some photos that show how I've been in the rehabilitation. The right was in the earlier days when I still lacked part of my skull. That's how it was. That's how it looked. This one is with a class commander who served in my platoon. I commanded him, and with the commander of the Golani Brigade. And last one in the middle. That's how after they completed my skull 3 months after the terror attack. And that's a funny story. Before the operation, the doctors told me and my parents, we sat there, they told them we're going to shave just this part of his head, just the part that we are going to perform the operation, and the rest of it, we're not going to shave. My dad was like, why? And after they answered, I told him, wait, Dad, at least I'll have something to send to my friends, because I want to show them that although I suffer from pain and all that, I can still make them laugh. during the rehabilitation, a guy from Belev Echad came to my parents and told them about the organization. And after some time, after they cleared my skull, I went to see them. It was still the COVID time. It was the beginning of it. But I went to see them, and I met a remarkable group of people that all of them are IDF disabled, like me. And I started meeting older brothers that while you're growing up, they help you because they know what are you doing, what are you dealing with. And they help you with it. More mentally, they help you to deal with it. I mean, there are also physical therapy in there, but I don't go to this. I don't like all that massages and stuff. But there are some people who do. And yeah, that's my experience with this organization. They help me to deal with the trauma and the PTSD. Today, in 2 months from now, I'm going to be a student in Bar-Ilan University. I'm going to study a BA in computer science. And my message is that we all have to deal with some troubles in our lives. I mean, I had to deal with something. But I guess that each and every one of you also has a painful story from history or current life. The main thing is how we deal with it. I mean, when I suffered from extreme headaches and trauma and felt like I lost my purpose in life, I still had my sense of humor, I had my friends, and I wanted to show them that although all that pain, I am still myself. And that's my message. So thank you for listening. Now, Ohad will tell his story, and Q&A after his story.
Okay, hi again everyone. And so, first of all, I have to say that this is the first time I'm listening to Noam's story, and it's moving, like the way the things he's been through and the way he dealt with that trauma, and it's amazing. And actually, my story is a bit different, but there is something similar, but it's a bit different. And so, the same as Noam, I joined when I was 18. I joined the Golani Brigade, and I joined them mainly because both of my parents served there. My father was a company commander, and my mom was a shooting officer. And you know, that's how they met, fell in love, and that's probably the reason I'm here today. And so I was sure I'm going to run just to meet my wife, but I couldn't, so I didn't. And so yeah, for me, like my whole childhood, I was sure that Golani, that's my unit. I'm going to serve in the Golani Brigade. And I joined the brigade. I went through basic trainings, and then I went to a commander course. I became a class commander meaning that I commanded 15 soldiers. After 8 months in this job, I decided that I wanted to do more, so I went to an officer school, and I became a platoon commander, which means I commanded 50 50 soldiers. I commanded them in basic training, meaning my job was to take them from high school and turn them into combat soldiers. That was my duty. And I did it for 8 months. Then we went through to defend all Israeli borders, Gaza, Lebanon, I don't know, the south border. And I did it until the beginning of June 2014. And now, do you remember what happened in Israel back then? Someone? Yeah?
Well, the war.
There was a war. No, not the Intifada. There was a war in Israel between Israel and a terrorist organization called Hamas in Gaza. But before that war, there were 3 kids that were kidnapped in Israel, and that was the starter for the war. That was the reason that the war started between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. And back then, I was, as I said, a platoon commander, and my mission was in the war to lead the Golani Brigade into a neighborhood called Sajaya. Now, I'm not sure if you heard about Sajaya, but Sajaya, it's like the Hamas base in Gaza. It's a neighborhood which there are so many terrorists there, and the Golani Brigade got a very tough mission to get to this neighborhood and to clear it from terrorists. And that was my mission. And in order to do that, wait a second. You see this picture here, the one standing in the middle was the Golani Brigade commander. His name is Hassan Aliyan, and this is my brigade. Not brigade, but the battalion. This is my battalion. But in order to do my mission, I had 2 vehicles that called APCs. You can see them right in the top of this picture. On the right top, that's an APC. Just imagine a tank without a cannon. APC is armored personal carrier. It's sort of a taxi, an armored taxi that should take us from one place to another one. So my unit had 2 of those. And as I said, my mission was to navigate the brigade to Sajaya neighborhood and to occupy a high building in the neighborhood. We had intelligence that inside the building that there is some terrorists with a rocket launcher, and my job is to get there, to kill the terrorists and destroy this launcher, and then keep fighting in Sajaya. And it was Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night, between the 19th and 20th in July 2014. And we got into these vehicles and we waited for, I think, something like 2 hours until we heard this comment. Wait a second. So as you see, you may begin the attack, Roger. So that was my sign that, okay, Ohad, you can start moving towards the neighborhood. Just maybe before I tell you what happened in the neighborhood, you see this picture in the left, this one. You see, we did like the travel and pray. We would pray before we got into Sajaya, and just like the same day we got into this neighborhood. So, yeah. And as I said, it was night. It was a very dark night. No moonlight, no street light, nothing like that. There were no lights from the buildings, nothing like that. And we heard only the tanks and my vehicles like moving towards the neighborhood. Now, if you don't know, but between Gaza and Israel there is a fence that separates us from Gaza. So we just moved towards this fence, and the moment we reached the fence between us and Gaza, between the Gaza fence, so the first thing I remember is that that those little dots that that you buy on eBay, the green dots, the green laser, the green laser that you buy on eBay. So I just remember like dozens of green dots, like pointing at me, at my vehicle, and at the tanks, and just imagine, it's so dark, and then in seconds, dozens of green lights, and for me, I remember I said to myself at that moment that, like, there are terrorists out there. It's not like training, you know, that you go and there's nothing, it's just training. It's real, the real thing. We have one shot. That's our opportunity to fight Hamas. And with those feelings, we crossed the fence towards Gaza. And the next thing I remember, I saw like a red strip in the air. It's something that looked like a falling star, but it wasn't really a falling star. It was a rocket that launched towards us. And when I realized it, I just jumped into my vehicle and I shouted, "Just hang up, hang on." And then we had a huge explosion. Everything moved. The vehicle shake. And I said to my brother, Shachar, his name was Shachar, just keep driving, because I was afraid that the next rocket will hit us. So just keep driving. And I think, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 rockets that launched towards us, and it took us like 3 hours to get to such a neighborhood. 3 hours of driving, 3 hours of fighting the Hamas. And after like 3 hours, we reached the neighborhood, and I remember these streets, the first street that we got into. So we moved, like the two vehicles like just drove in these streets, and from my right side, I saw like this lemon grove, okay? And from my left side, I saw a building, a 2-floor building, and like, I don't know, a 2-floor building. So I'm driving, from my right side I saw a lemon grove, and from my left side I saw this 2-floor building. And we drove between this building and the lemon grove. And suddenly I heard a very strange noise. Something like, something like that. And then my vehicle just stalled. Got stuck in the middle of the neighborhood. And it took me like a few seconds to understand, to realize what am I going to do now? Like, what is my next step? And then I decided that we are going to leave those vehicles on the ground and keep moving forward by foot. Because in my head, you know, as a commander, there was only my mission. I have to do my mission. I have to get to this building with the terrorists, and what I told you about, I have to get there. So it doesn't matter. I'm a Golani. I know how to run. That's why I was taught how to run. Take all the equipment on my back and run. So that was my order. But the problem was when my vehicle stalled, the radio didn't work. So the problem was that my second vehicle didn't get my order to get out and go after me and start running towards the mission. So what I did, I just jumped from my vehicle and I ran like 30 meters back to the second one to tell them the order, take out your soldiers and all of you after me, and let's keep moving. And when I reached him, there was a commander in the second vehicle, and he signaled, okay, like that. Like, I got you, okay, I got the order. And when he signaled like that, I said to myself, okay, like everything is going to be okay, everything's going to be fine. In a few minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes, everyone will be outside and we will start running. And with those feelings, I went back towards my vehicle. And doing so, I heard my second vehicle, I heard the engine like shutting off. So it was very quiet. No moonlight, no street lights, it was so very quiet, very dark. And the second I reached my vehicle, and there was an RPG. RPG is an anti-tank missile, launched and hit my vehicle, causing huge explosion. Now, just imagine, it was so dark and so quiet, and suddenly like that, I'm lying on my back. I flew like few meters in the air. I fell on my back after a huge explosion. Huge flames came out of the vehicle, followed by very heavy fire. So there was explosion, then a very heavy fire, and inside the vehicle we had explosives and rockets. So every few seconds there was another explosion and another explosion, and everything changed so quickly, and so I didn't know even what happened. So as an instinct, I just stood up, and then I fell again. But this time I fell because I was shot in both my legs, 5 bullets in both my legs. I got shrapnel in my arm and my back. So I fell again, but this time I was totally paralyzed. I couldn't feel my legs nor my left hand. There was a very heavy fire all around me, huge explosion, huge flames. My weapon, my personal weapon, flew away when I flew in the back. When I flew back, so the weapon flew away from me. So I lied in the middle of Sajaya. I couldn't respond because I didn't have a weapon. I couldn't move because I couldn't feel my legs or arm. So, but as a commander, the last thing I had left to do was to shout orders to my soldiers. So I started shouting, fire back, find cover behind the vehicle. I remember even shouting, Ohad is injured. Like, I'm injured, like someone come to help me. And I shouted and shouted and shouted, and actually no one answered me. So at this second, I felt that I'm by myself, I'm all alone in the middle of this neighborhood, the Hamas base, can't move, can't respond, I don't have soldiers, and it will sound a bit strange, but at those seconds, I started talking to myself. Like, everyone is always asking me, like, what happened? Like, someone spoke to you, like God, angels, you saw your life going through or something like that. So nothing like that happened, nothing. But I just lied there and I started talking to myself. I got into this strange zone that I started talking to myself, and I said, I remember saying 2 things. So the first one was that I said to myself, I'm not going back home. Like, that's it. Those are my last seconds. I'm going to die here in Sajaya. I'm not going back home. And the second thing I said was that this whole incident, it felt a bit like, there was a huge explosion, then a very heavy fire, and then the one thing that the terrorist wants the most is to kidnap a soldier. Like, this incident felt to me like a kidnap. It's about kidnapping a soldier. So when I realized that, I pulled out the only weapon I had left, and it was a hand grenade in the side of my vest. I pulled it out, I put it next to my chest, with my finger on the safety catch, and I waited. And I said to myself, the second one of the terrorists will touch me, will try to take me, I'm going to explode myself up with him. And actually, it wasn't something that we learned, that if you get in this situation, you should explode yourself. And the reason we don't learn, or no one told us, because even for a war, it's very extreme situation, like a commander, an officer that finds himself in the middle of Sajaya, all by himself, no weapon, can't move, no soldiers. It's very, very extreme. So, but I said to myself that if I'm going away with a few terrorists with me. And I lied on my back with the grenade on my chest for, I thought it was 4 hours, but actually in real time, 1 minute, maybe less. But in my head, I promise you 4 hours. And after 4 hours, again in my head, real time 1 minute, but after 4 hours, something was so strange, because I said to myself, how come no one came? Like, no terrorists came to take me, like, they're still shooting. Like how many bullets do they have? It's funny, I don't know. Like, no one came, and something was strange to me. So I raised my head, and I looked around me to see what's going on. Like, where are the terrorists? No one came. And then I saw one of my soldiers, something like 20 meters away from me. He was like crouching behind a tree. There was a long tree, and he was just kneeling like behind the tree. He aimed with his rifle, with his weapon, on something, towards something, but he didn't move. He didn't shoot, nothing. But when I saw him, it was for me after 4 hours, again in my head, but it was 4 hours. It was the first time that I was not alone. I wasn't alone. There is a soldier here. Maybe we can fight together. Maybe we can, maybe I can go, I can get back home. Maybe I can bring one of my soldiers back home. So I got all this adrenaline like inside my body, and I just started crawling towards him. I couldn't really crawl. I just grabbed like land, and I like dragged myself until I reached him. And when I reached him, his name is Nissan. I shouted, Nissan! And then he looked at me, because I was, like, I crawled, so I was on the ground. He looked at me, and I saw in his eyes that he didn't recognize me. Now, I was his commander since the day he joined the army. Like, what's going on here? I didn't have time to think, because there was very heavy fire. I didn't know what's going on. So I just punched him in his helmet with a grenade, by the way, which is very dangerous. But I had to walk him up, and then he woke up, and he asked me, what are you doing here? And I said, listen, what are you talking about? Just get down, fall from the ground. And he got down, and together we crawled. I told you about the lemon grove that was just next to us. So we crawled to this lemon grove. And underneath one of the trees, there was a small like hole that we could hide. Nissan and myself, we hide behind one of the trees, and we were lucky because Nissan was my signal operator, meaning that he had a radio on his back. So I took the radio and I called my battalion, my commander, and he asked me what happened, what's going on? And I told him, actually, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, today I can tell you that an RPG hit me and everything. Well, I just told you, but back then I didn't really know. But I did know where was I, the exact location. So I told him, and he said, "Oh, I'm coming." And when he said, "We are coming to you," I was like, okay, everything is going to be okay. I don't know what happened. Everything is going to be okay. And then, when I was like filling with hope, I got 2 punches from Nissan. And he whispered, "Ohad, I recognize a terrorist squad inside the lemon grove that they are searching for us, they're coming for us." And I said to myself, okay, that's a kidnap. Because I told you there was a huge explosion, there was a very heavy fire, and then it will be a kidnap. So I was so sure that was the kidnap, so I told Nissan, no matter what, you don't shoot. You don't have a permission to shoot, because I said the minute when you shoot, the terrorists will know where we are, so they will come. And my battalion is on its way, so we need to wait. We need to survive those few minutes until the battalion will come. And Echad, now you have to understand, facing terrorists, it's scary, it's frightening, but facing terrorists without a weapon, without my squad, my unit, all by myself, just with Nissan, it's so scary. We were shaking, it's very frightening. And every few seconds, Nissan is telling me, "Oh, they are getting close, what to do?" And I keep telling him, "Nissan, just don't shoot. No matter what, don't shoot." The last time he said that they are getting close, he said, "Well, I'm aiming to I recognize the commander of this squad, and I'm aiming to his head. Just give me permission to shoot." And I told him, "Nissan, not yet. Wait, we have to wait." A few seconds after, he said, "Ohad, the commander is limping." That's what he said. The commander is limping. And I didn't tell you that because I said the punch for now. But before we crossed the fence towards Gaza, we had a small accident between the two vehicles. So the second vehicle just drove and crashed into the first one. And what happened was that the commander in the second vehicle got hurt in his knee. So he was limping. And when Nissan said, "Oh, the commander is limping," I said, wait a minute. Maybe it's not, those people are not terrorists. They are my soldiers. And actually, they were my soldiers. And the last seconds, I took his weapon down. I told Nissan, took the weapon down. It's Grossman. Grossman is the name of the second commander. And there was really Grossman, and they came to us, and they came to help us. and they took control over the building that I told you about that the terrorists attacked us from. So just in the last second, we could stop. Like we didn't shoot in the end, so that was lucky. I can show you a short illustration. Wait a second. You can see the long tree that Nissan was hiding behind, and you see in the right corner, you see the building that the terrorists attacked us from, and you will see later the lemon grove is in the bottom of this illustration. So we were shot by this missile, and then I crawled to the long tree. Wait a second. To the long tree, and then Nissan and myself we crawled to the lemon grove down. So that was incident. That's the fire. So this is my vehicle. The day after the incident I told you, you can see the hole from the missile, and that's how they took it out after. So those are, by the way, every picture here it's a real picture from Gaza, from Sajaya. The left one, that's the exact location of the incident. This is the building that the terrorists shoot towards us. And from the right side, you see the tunnel that is inside Gaza. The terrorists they shot towards us, and then they ran away through this tunnel. And this tunnel is just when you see those crash, the trash over the left picture. So the tunnel beneath the trash over there. Right. So we were 9 people. 9 soldiers, 9 combat soldiers in this vehicle, Nissan, myself, and 7 more, and all the 7 soldiers, all of them were killed in this incident. So we were the only one who survived the attack. So those are my soldiers that were killed. So I'm starting from the right top. So the first one is Ben Vanu, it's from Ashdod, in the south of Israel. The second one is Daniel Pomerantz. Daniel Pomerantz was a class commander in my unit. The third one is Oren Noach. Oren Noach was also a class commander. The last one, the right, the left top is Shachar Tasa. He was my driver, I told you about. Right button, Sean Monshine. And the next one is Max Steinberg, and the last one is Oron Shaul. And actually, I'm not sure if any of you heard about Oron Shaul, but Oron Shaul, actually in this incident, Oron was kidnapped. His body, Oron's body was kidnapped by the Hamas, and we are now 9 years after the war in Gaza, Operation Protective Edge. So 9 years after, and Oron's body is still with the Hamas, alongside with another soldier named Adam Goldin. And so let's pray together that both of them will get a proper burial in Israel and soon. And actually there are 2 more citizens that are now in the hand of the Hamas. One of them is Avera Mengistu, and the second one is Isham. So let's pray that all the four of them will get back to Israel. And I want to share with you another quick and short story about one of my soldiers. His name is Max Steinberg. And Max actually is something we call in the IDF, we call a lone soldier. Lone soldier meaning that he wasn't born and raised in Israel. He came by himself to Israel to join the army. So Max grew up in LA, in Los Angeles, to a Jewish family, not that connected to Israel, but he went through a program called Birthright in Israel. He did Birthright, and then 2 weeks after he decided, okay, I want to join the Golani Brigade. So he came, so he joined my platoon, my unit. So I was his commander since his first day in the army until the last one. And actually just think about it. A young man from LA that grew up in LA, has no strong connection to Israel, decided to leave everything he know, college, everything, and just join the IDF to do something greater than him, like they're going to defend the state of Israel, to defend the Jewish nation, and I think it's amazing. But actually, the interesting story, it's not about him, it's about his parents, because his parents got this message that Max was killed, so the first thing they did, they took flight to the Levaya in Israel, the funeral in Israel, and when they reached Israel, I'm not sure if there was a taxi or a vehicle from the army that took them from the airport to Jerusalem to Mount Herzl, which is the military cemetery. And someone took them there, and there was a heavy traffic, and they got late. They were late to the funeral. Of course, they were waiting for them. And then they reached Mount Herzl, and there were so many people that came to Mount Herzl, and they heard that so many soldiers were killed. So probably there are many funerals and etc. So they just came to the grave, and then they realized that this was the only funeral in Mount Herzl that day, and over 30,000 people came to Max funeral. People that never heard about it, never heard about Max, never talked to him, they didn't meet him, nothing. They just heard that there was a lone soldier that was killed in the war, and they just wanted to say thank you. So people just got their family from the north part of the Golan Heights or from the south, and just drove all the way to Jerusalem just to say thank you to a soldier they never met. So I think it's a very strong story about Israel, about what does it mean to be a Jewish, Israeli, what does it mean to serve in the IDF? That when you're doing something that is greater than you, defending the Holy Land, the state of Israel, and everyone just want to say thank you. So I think it's a very inspiring story. And actually, his mother, when she saw that so many people come to the funeral, she decided that she will leave Max in Israel because they can flew him back to the state. They decided to leave him there to inspire other young soldiers, young students to do the same as Max. And she always said that Max did his job when he joined the IDF and defended the state of Israel, and she did her job by decided to live in Israel and to inspire more young, to inspire the young generation. So this is Max's story. And actually, from that incident, I was evacuated after, I think, 4 hours. I was evacuated to the hospital, and I started my rehabilitation process, which, I was an officer in the Golani Brigade. When the doctor told me you have to go through rehabilitation, I said, okay, what is it? Like 1 week, 2 weeks, and I'm going back to my unit, to my soldiers. Like my soldiers kept fighting in Gaza. I wanted to go back. And then actually I stayed in hospital for 1 year. At first, you can see I got to the hospital like that. I was like, after 2 surgeries, I was like paralyzed to bed. Then I moved to wheelchair. Later on, I had crutches, and then I had a walking stick. And now you can see I can walk and even run, but I'm lazy, so I don't run. I hate running. Always hate it. And so I did my rehabilitation process. It takes time, but besides the physical rehabilitation, there is a mental rehabilitation as well. And at first you don't see it. I'm talking about PTSD, and you know what? I'm talking about something before the PTSD. Because as an officer, as a commander in the IDF, the first thing I learned in the officer school is that I can train my soldiers as hard as I want. I don't know. I can bring them to the edge of their abilities, but at the end of the day, it's my job to bring them back home, safe. That's my job, and I got back home. Maybe not in the best shape, but I got back home. And 7 of my soldiers didn't. So I had no idea how to deal with the guilt. Even before the PTSD, before the flashbacks and everything. How am I supposed to deal with 7 families that lost everything in their lives? The 7 moms and the world collapsed. Like, what should I say? I was 22, by the way. We say commander in the IDF. Commander in the IDF is, I was 22, I commanded 50 soldiers. I didn't know how to deal with that, and it takes time. A lot of therapy and to learn how to deal, because there's no pill that will take it away. So we just need to learn how to deal with that, to live, how to live with trauma. And yes, so the woman you see here, actually her name is Varda Pomeranz. Varda Pomeranz is the mother of one of my soldiers, Daniel, I told you about just 5 minutes ago. So Varda came to visit me. She heard that her son was killed, and she came to visit me before the funeral of her son, just to tell me that she understands my situation and she will be with me. She will help me deal with that, and together both of us, we went to every family and we told them the story together. And the reason that Varda so much like understood me, Varda served for 30 years in the army. She was a colonel in the army, and her job was to support the IDF fallen families from all the wars of Israel, to support them, to help them. That was her job in the army. And then 2014, she found herself not supporting fallen soldiers' families. Her son was killed, so that's how she knew what I needed back then. So this is Varda. And after 1 year in rehabilitation, dealing with the PTSD and dealing with the physical rehabilitation, after 1 year, I decided that the best rehabilitation for me, for sure mentally, is to go back to the one place I know, the one job, the one job I had, and I decided to get drafted again to the army. So I joined back the army, but this time I couldn't be a combat soldier, combat officer, so I decided to be an educator in a very special academy. It's called the military academy. It's an academy for young boys and girls at high school from 16 to 18. During the day, they study in a very good school in Haifa, in the north part of Israel. And afternoon, they come to this academy, and we train them to be the next generation of quality officers in the IDF. So I had 70 kids, 54 boys and 16 girls. And now today, all of them are officers in the IDF, in the best units, all the units, best units. So for me, I don't know, dealing with youth and education is something that helped me a lot dealing with my trauma. And of course, coming here and telling my story, I'm telling you all my problems, and I walk away. So that's the best therapy I can have. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you for having us. I didn't say today, after I got released from the army, I decided to go to law school. So I went to the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and now I can say, after almost six years, that I'm a lawyer in Israel, a commercial lawyer, and that's what I'm doing today. And I have this, dream one day to be an ambassador for Israel, because I really believe, I told you at the beginning that what we met in Kentucky with the anti-Semitism, so for me, I think I fought in Gaza. I fought the Hamas in Gaza. I won't do it again because I can't. But I think the fight for our name, for the Israeli name, it's not less important, let's say. So one day, hopefully, I want to be an ambassador for Israel. And again, now, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for having me. So this is the time. You can ask Noam, or you can ask everything, by the way. It doesn't need to be like, everything is fine. You can ask about anything, whatever you want. Yes.
I don't have a question, but a little comment.
Okay.
I am from Israel, born and raised. I served in the military 1977 to 1980. I was in the family operation. We were fighting the Fatah. That was running away. You guys were won. And first of all, you are an ambassador. Because being here and doing what you're doing, a lot of people in the States don't understand. You're doing a great thing, and I just wanted to say one thing. It just showed the picture of your soldiers that died, the 7 troop soldiers, and I grew up and I had no idea. This is just like a complete circle for me. The guy on the right, at the bottom, Menachem Moonshine? Not Menachem.
Menachem is his father.
Menachem is his father. I grew up with his father.
Wow.
Me and his father were like not best friends, but we were really close friends. And I heard about his death, and today is the first time I saw his face. So thank you.
You know,
It's amazing. You came all the way to Israel to Venezuela, and now you know one of my soldiers.
just before we start question and answer, I just want to take a second to give Ohad and Noam a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you so much.
I answered the question. I want to thank you for the legacy of 5,000 years of Israeli soldiers giving us the right to exist.
So, how many states have you gone to with Belev?
How many what?
States have you gone to?
States. Oh, here in America, we've been to New York. We're going to be here in Arizona, and we're going to be in Florida. So 3.
Three so far.
For me, it's the 5th time. So I went to Ohio and to Kentucky and North Carolina and Florida and all over the place just to share the story, because I really believe that both of us, our stories, it's part of the Israeli, it's the legacy, it's part of being Israel. You know, you heard about a soldier that got attacked in the terrorist attack in Jerusalem, and I was attacked, I got injured in a war. So you see, it's all, there is connection. We said what I'm trying to say, that the war can happen either in the other side, in Gaza, or inside in Jerusalem. You don't know. That's why we need to defend the legacy inside and outside. Yeah. Another question? Yeah.
My name is Anna Sachs, and I grew up in Echad and then lived in Jerusalem. And I got my family shot, so I was wondering if you guys have any advice for me going to Zahad.
Something short?
That really depends on your personality. I mean, you have a favorite thing. I mean, what do you? It's a very general. Not a question. There are many parts in the idea to like. You want to be in the Air Force. You want to be in the Navy. I mean,
I'm still looking into all of
a
that.
combatant. I don't know. My sister was the lookout, like Tzvikanik. Yeah, each part in the IDF, I believe it's
All right,
essential.
1 second. Can you just repeat the question?
She got her first draft. And she asked us if we have any something to recommend. I don't know. I guess just go there and be yourself, be your best self. That's what I did, and I got the thing that I wanted most. So
I just want to say, first of all, it's an amazing choice to go to Israel. I think it's a very amazing choice. So well done. I don't know, and I hope you enjoy Israel and the idea. Okay, now you live here, so you can live here. But okay, so you decided to go back, and I think the decision is amazing. So
falafel in Israel is much better.
yeah,
That's why we want to live.
hummus. Some more questions? Yes.
I just want to thank both of you, really appreciate it. But the most important thing that I saw, that you made the decision to pray for soldiers. And here in America, God is being removed from this country, and in the military as well. So I thank you so much that you continue to pray in the military. Thank you so much.
We don't get a lot of news about the political situation in Israel, but I understand from what I've been able to find that the country is sort of divided between the leadership. What is your opinion about the political situation there now?
Okay. Well, you're right that when you say that there is a situation in Israel right now of a sort of an ideological fight, but I'm sorry, I don't want to share my political view here because there are some big sides. I believe that we're all just one people. I mean, from the days of the Bible, we've been arguing with each other and fighting each other. I think that we'll pass it through and everything will be the same. I mean, we will continue to argue, but that's us. I mean, I think.
So I work here at the college, former student. I'm also a U.S. Army veteran, and hearing your guys'
Where do you
stories.
serve?
I was stationed in NATO overseas, but
Okay.
not doing stuff. You guys do good stuff. Anyway, my point is this: I work with the Veterans Club here on campus. I help out fellow veterans in the community. That's like my way of kind of serving and survivor's guild, stuff like that. Stuff you guys talked about, of like, what do you do after you're in service? But your guys' story really helped me, and I appreciate you guys coming here. And I think it's very relatable with, we serve different nations, but I think our role as a soldier in general was just that. We were soldiers. We had to learn. Sometimes you take the uniform off and live your life, and you can't be a soldier the rest of your life. One day you take it off. So I really appreciate you guys sharing your experience and coming home, your transition. And I think that's really relatable. I think on this side of the ocean, hearing your guys' way to work through things and losing friends, and I understand that part. But the coming home part, I think it's what's really important. What you guys said. You guys figure out a way to have a purpose and still serve and find a way to wake up every day. That's what's strong about what your mission was. And I really appreciate that as a soldier. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
So I just know that some people have to go, so we'll continue as long as these guys want here. We're good to go. I just want to say thank you to them for coming out and to Belev Echad. They called me about a month ago, and I said, actually, that's like the worst day that I can do, because I'm printing the calendar. We have a Jewish calendar. We're printing over 1,500 copies. By the way, if anyone wants to put an ad in or a message, today's the last day. Printing that today. I have a class here tonight at 6 p.m. And I said, they told me, they said, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. You don't have to do anything. Just get us a place. Come, we'll be there and everything. And I just want to say thank you to them for inspiring us and showing us their story and inspiring us to grow and make the decisions, similar decisions in our life to overcome our struggles. And I just wanted to say thank you. We'll continue the question and answer. I just wanted to, if anyone needs to leave or anything like that, I just wanted to give a formal thank you.
Do you have a bucket or somewhere we can donate to your trip here?
You can scan the QR and you can donate online, I think. Right? Ben?
Yeah.
Yes? You can scan the QR and...
Okay, so while we're at it, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Events like this do cost a lot. And so many people signed up online more than ever and donated and really, really appreciated it. We really, really appreciate all your support for Chabad of Prescott. I just wanted to say thank you to you all. Scan and follow the information, and whatever it is good. Yeah. I know that in these organizations, they come and they say, hey, who are they going to donate to, this or this? I always feel that whoever you give to, it's always going to increase more giving. So.
Yes.
I just want to say that I think what you're doing is extremely important, and the more campuses you can get on, the more you can spread your story. Perhaps what's happening on the campuses across this country will improve.
That's the goal. We want to reach as much campuses as we can, and that's why we do it. Yes.
What city are you from?
What?
What city are you from?
City?
Oh, he's from Tel Aviv, mainly Kiryati, and I'm from Modi'in, it's a city between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
I live in the best city in the world, actually. I have to say. I'm the most expensive, but the best. I'm sure that you think about New York City, and I don't know, it's nothing compared to Tel Aviv. I promise you.
The city that doesn't sleep.
That's really the city that doesn't sleep. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for coming, and have a good evening.
If anyone wants to put the fillet on right over here, you can come put the fillet on. As we mentioned before. Right here.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm from Haifa.
Wow.
I worked at Rambam Hospital and became a nurse there.
Wow.
And it was the 6-day war that we received all the burn victims from the tanks in Golan. So I can
Where
feel
did you
for
live in Haifa?
Where?
Which area?
Oh, in Kiryat Eliezer.
Kiryat Eliezer. Nice.
Yeah.
But next to the stadium.
Yes. Right. So I can certainly feel for you what you were going through, because we were in the hospital and taking care of all the burn victims. They were burned like 80-90% of their bodies, so they had no skin. They were like in pain 24/7. So it was horrible. So I can certainly
Being a nurse is
yeah.
such an important job. I don't know. Such a
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, one of your guys that died, his name was Steinberg.
Max Steinberg.
Yeah. Was he from Haifa?
No.
No.
He was from LA.
No, Steinberg.
Steinberg, yes. Steinberg is from LA.
But
Thank you.
really sad story, very sad story, unfortunately. So many casualties and so many people that gave their life in the prime
I had a
time.
cousin that died in the war in Israel.
Yeah.
In 1970.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome job.
Thank you so
So the reason I asked where you're from, I'm sorry, that I was born in Israel. I was there for 11 years, and I lived in Holland.
Yes.
For right
Well,
next to
yeah,
I used
Tel Aviv.
I used
But-
to play soccer.
Yeah, but it's not
I've been
Holon.
here.
It's Holon, but it's not Tel Aviv. It's next
No,
to
no,
Tel
I
Aviv.
know, I know.
It's next. It's just nearby, but it's not.
Holland is not the Holland. I left in 1968. Long
Yes,
time ago. I have
yes.
never been back.
Oh wow!
But
Why
I'm
not?
going back September
Ah, nice.
for 2 weeks.
That's
I
nice.
have cousins, lots of big family up there. I'm going back for the first time. I'll be in Bet Shemesh for 2 weeks.
Amazing. Jerusalem, Tel Aviv,
Everywhere. I'm gonna
nice.
go to Ohad.
Nice.
Technology is amazing. I can go on Google Earth, go on the street, and I can see the apartment where I used to live.
And probably the same apartment, no one changed it, like the same
Well,
building.
I'm gonna go over there. We lived on the 4th floor. I'm gonna knock on the door and say, "Can I come look inside and see?"
They probably say it's okay.
But I hope so, because I want to see it. Yeah.
Nice.
There.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a picture with the two of you, if I may. Sure. My pleasure. Thank you both so much for being here. I don't want to say much because I'm sad that I'm
You want me to get a photo of you? Okay. רוצים תמונה איתך.
Thank you for coming today. Thank you for the service to your country.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're going through a really rough time here in this country, which has been a big supporter of this. It really breaks my heart. What's going on in college campuses, even woke military. Whatever happens,
Wow.
never happens.
Yeah, the situation is bad here in the States. I thought when I went to Kentucky and I saw so many supporters like against Israel, anti-Semitism, I was shocked. Like, at the end of the day in Israel, we don't feel it. We don't feel it because we live in Israel, like we're all Israelis. So we have like those arguments, I don't know, but it's not like that. And here I was so like, I felt so like beautiful, not pity, but so bad for the students that they go to college and they suffer from those kind of things and they don't know how to deal with that and what to say because they didn't grow up in Israel, they didn't they don't know, they're just in the middle. Yeah.
They don't know the truth.
Yeah, they don't.
Follow the pack.
Yeah, they follow the pack. Yeah.
I'm also, my husband and I have IDF in our will. So you're getting money from us.
Thank you.
Pass it on.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we were in Israel just after, we were there in September of 2014.
Ah, just after the war.
Yeah, just afterwards.
I was in hospital. So.
You missed it.
Yeah.
Did you ever run across
Ido King.
He's a tour guide now, but he was reserve. He was Israeli Navy SEAL, basically. He was a captain in the Navy reserves, and he was our guide.
Okay.
But,
no, I don't know.
And,
did you go to the Ark in Kentucky?
What?
Did you go to the Ark in Kentucky?
The Ark?
Ark.
Noah's
Ark.
Noah's Ark is in Kentucky
It's in
now.
Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy, I need to ask him. He's my guy. He's my commander. So.
Not the real ark, but
Yeah,
a
of course.
replica the same size,
Wow.
built the same way.
Nice. It's very nice.
I need to tell him it's not okay that they didn't take me there.
He's your guide.
Where in Kentucky were you?
In Kentucky University, maybe?
Where?
Kentucky University. Where have you been in Kentucky?
UK?
Why? University of Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
They told me that the Noah Ark
The Ark
is in Kentucky.
The Ark
Oh
is
yeah.
there.
I mean, we wanted to go. We didn't have much time.
Closer to
We also wanted to go to.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, but no, we didn't have much time.
Didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
Okay, next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Ark is in Kentucky.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Listen, you're very inspiring. I think she'd like to say something.
I was just going to share because I was just sharing that I did my basic training over in Israel.
Oh, wow.
So my question is, what has helped you the most with like the flashbacks and when you get triggered, like you're not prepared and all of a sudden, like out of nowhere you get a trigger. What do you redirect your thoughts? Do you do breathing? Do you listen to me? What helps you?
Two things help me. first of all, talking about it, telling my story, it's actually it's the best therapy, I think. Talking about it. But the problem is that when people don't talk about it, so they keep it inside, and then when it comes, it explodes, and no one understands them. When you talk about it, so your environment understands it. So and for yourself, it's much easier to deal with that because I know what's going on. I'm talking about it, so that's the first thing. And the second one was my students, the kids in the academy. So whenever I had those triggers, when I spoke to one of them, I had never had any trigger, nothing, no flashbacks, nothing. Like so, they were my cure. So.
Teaching is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, so education and like working with youth and talking about it.
Have a wonderful. I did Marva. I did Marva. It's not called Marva anymore. But it's just a big training with the military over there. But when you're going to go to Flagstaff, I hope you get to see the area. I was talking to friends to go to Red Rock Crossing if you can.
Red what? Red Rock Crossing. Okay, he's my guide. So
this is your guide? Oh, right here?
No, this one.
Oh, okay. I'll talk to him. So thank you. You're gonna you're going to eat well.
Yes.
And you're going to be in a beautiful school.
He's like, oh, rabbit. Oh, I was like, jeez.
Really?
Thank you so much for
You've
coming.
been in the army all the damn time. Yeah, well, no, because I was part of the.
He was
still
pulling our trucks with horses. Yeah.
He was the
But I'm
meanest
here
son
now.
of a gun. I remember thinking,
And
like, get on the grass, he will yell
you
at you.
know, they have a chef up there.
It's
So
crazy.
they'll prepare some good food for you.
He's a good guy though. He
Yeah,
did
tough.
good training.
Like, have a good.
Well, his
like,
thing was, he used to tell us all the time, he
Takes you,
goes,
there'll be
I
tons
don't
of
care if you're in Iraq,
people.
Afghanistan, he's like, you're fighting and don't play by the rules. He's like, same thing Charlie said. He's like, you have a gut feeling, you go with it. He's like, he was like, don't even think you're
Friday night, Shabbat, and then we had something more in Shabbat.
Yeah, he would
noon.
tell us all kinds of
I'm not
interesting
sure.
stuff.
I'm just, he's driving and taking me from one place to
The
another.
rabbi's driving? You're driving?
No, this one. Next to the piano.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell him about Red Rock Crossing. It's just a beautiful place, and it's a famous, like a lot of Western movies. You know, Red Rock's
I think all the area, we drove from Phoenix to here, and I said, okay, it's like an American movie. Like, I don't know, it's desert, and we're driving with this SUV in mountains, and those cactus. The cactus.
It's like Israel, like the desert in the south and the mountains in the north. But we don't have the Red Sea. We don't have the sea, and we don't have the spot.
My generation,
Jerusalem.
way more in common because only a small person served when they come home.
Thank you so much.
You can't relate to your same peer group. You know?
Honor to meet you.
So,
You too. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm a Vietnam vet.
yeah,
Wow.
people don't understand that.
Okay.
It's very interesting. In Afghanistan,
Which unit?
I was in the Air Force.
The Air Force?
Like I wanted to what I felt like
Wow.
when Saigon fell.
That's nice.
I was there for the
It's not nice, but it was very
closing
tough.
ceremony, helped evacuate Roisblatt in Saigon, and there at the end for a year. I was there. Yeah.
You know that now in the military there is a program when you, before you become a company commander, you go through academy and you learn and you study. And one of the programs is they take a group of officers and they fly them to Vietnam and they go through some some main events that happened in the war and they study about the war. It's amazing. Yeah.
We were just in Israel in February.
Yeah,
And I took
I can't imagine.
some great pictures.
I would imagine it'd be a very similar feeling.
So you're probably
Like
familiar
seeing it on TV, like man.
Yeah, that's the Golan Heights.
Way
That's the Golan Heights.
Yes.
The border with Syria. Yeah.
Looking over into.
Yeah, this is the Emek Israel.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And down below that, there was a tank.
This is the Ramon, by the Syrian side. The Golan Heights, so every piece there was a war, there was something happened.
Yeah.
The Golan Heights.
We were honored. We had wonderful time there. And, we hope to be back.
Thank you so much for coming.
Enjoy your
Thank you.
blessings and hope that your future, we just had our.
We were just there at the end of February.
Yes, Yeshua Mahia.
In Israel.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm on the list. It's really cool.
היי. אז איפה מתגייסת? איפה את מתגייסת?
אני לא יודעת, אני מנסה. כי טכנית קיבלתי את הפרסום של עדיין יש לי שנתיים.
אבל דיברו איתך על זה? משהו?
הם לא עשו לטלפון. אנחנו מתקשרים
באמת?
משגע. אני חוזרת במרץ.
חוזרת לארץ באמת?
כן.
איזה, וואי, זה מוזר מאוד. יש מה שלך, שטח פה אנחנו עונים בדרך כלל. זה מיטב. זה מיטב לא עונים לך בכלל?
הם לא עונים. אז יכול להיות, אני לא יודעת. אז אני אנסה
אולי אני יכול לעזור לך את זה, אני מבטיח פנימיה שאני עובד בה. אולי תשכחי את הפרטים שלך בוואטסאפ או משהו ותשכחי את הפרטים.
אין לי את הטלפון שלי.
ולשאול שלך?
יש לי... אני לא יודעת...
Something that I think is really important. We're still learning about.
Unfortunately.
When I came to and they told me not to wear my uniform.
I was there when they started building, when that's it. I'm very excited to go back.
Belev, it's one house.
I know, I saw it.
Ah, okay.
One
It's one house.
somewhere else.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Sorry? Not yet, no. I tried to go, but then the pandemic happened, so I couldn't fly. I was very sad.
My dad's a tour guide if you want to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Very
You
cool.
can actually come up
One
with
day
it
with
right now.
God help.
His name's Roman Sachs.
I'll let you type that.
Okay.
Nice meeting you guys. All the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
But there's no way we're gonna have a kid. It's probably gonna be still working on that guy. He's been doing it for a long time.
That's actually work.
You're not gonna get there he is. He's been doing it for
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
At the end it will happen.
Yeah, he's
Google
written
that.
two books.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
I told them in the way maybe there
Yeah,
will
he's a
be
very
10 or
good tour
20
guide.
people, and
It's
actually
my-
almost
Might
100.
be kind of biased because
It's not
my
biased.
dad.
We came
Yeah,
from
not biased.
Israel
Not biased at all.
to Arizona, and
Yeah, that
Not
sounds
like
like
you, my
fun.
dad.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I want to definitely go.
אז אני לא בטוחה, אבל אני חושבת
Yeah, take your wife, your kids. You have any?
עכשיו אתה לוקח מכאן, אתם ממשיכים לפלורידה?
לא, סדונה.
או, סדונה.
Your friends.
בשבילנו מחר באה אל ההרצאה בפלאגסטאף, ביום ראשון סיור בפיניקס.
And looking at like since pandemic, like Israel been on like kind of like a total shutdown. Like everything's
אולי נלך
like
ביום ראשון.
2022, like everything's running like really
למה לא מעניין
active.
אותי?
And so yeah, my dad's
ראיתי.
business.
הוא היה, אני אומר, אבל אני יכול ללך, יש לנו
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait.
באמת שזה ממש...
Yeah, and I mean like if you
לא,
want to
אני יכול לעזור, אני מתעסק בזה בבניין שלה.
you can actually go to Israel during the winter, and it won't be like incredibly cold. Yeah, only out of the 7 years I lived in Israel, it only snowed once. Yes.
How's it feel?
Great.
Because I like to eat, obviously. So.
It's so good. Yeah.
I like trying new food, so.
Yeah.
I actually
I think
think
it'd be a lot of fun.
Have you ever tried falafel?
Yeah.
Do you like the ones here?
They're okay.
Well, if you
I haven't had
try
them very often. I've only had them 3 times.
Yeah, well, in Israel, you're gonna have a lot more falafel. It's like everything. Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot better.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, and also a weird thing about the McDonald's is like they eat kosher, so you're not gonna really find any pork.
That's fine. I'm not a big bacon pork person.
Good, 'cause like
So, do they eat more like lamb or is it chicken or?
like
would you say?
anything that's kosher. So yeah, I mean they're like kosher that they'll have the ice cream and stuff at the front of McDonald's. So if you don't want to actually go in McDonald's to get like flurry, so you could just go up to the window. Because here's like where they do the meat, because they eat separate meat and dairy.
Yeah.
Like,
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually very cool.
It is cool. Yeah, I want to check it out. I want to definitely go.
Very
I'm
interesting.
excited.
Yeah. My dad actually put in the IDF.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was communications. He called it the monkey squad because the monkey part of it was you had to go up all the telephone wires or poles. The cool story that he has is that he was up there once and he looked over behind his shoulder. This is like during the Lebanon war. And so and there was just this dogfight between the Israeli pilots and the Lebanese pilots.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, like
That had to be something to see.
well,
How old's
so
he?
yeah.
I seen it.
13. Oh, you had your bar mitzvah. What
Yeah,
time
just
did you
a
ever?
lot.
You want to do it quickly? Let's do it. You do it all. You want to do it all?
How old are you?
Ah, fair. Hey, I do it for dad. You're sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate us coming by.
אז איפה היית בנאטו? You served in NATO? You were stationed in NATO?
Yeah, so I was in NATO troops in Germany, but I was doing honor guard, like funerals.
Yeah.
Salute battles, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Take care.
So
Offer.
that's what I got stuck doing. It wasn't very fun, but I love
Thank you. Come again to something else.
Unfortunately, we had to do the service.
Bye, man.
Mom is Jewish?
So when they came back, it's kind of weird because you're like, I know him, like, slept next to him. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, I think finding service outside of the uniform is important because you get stuck in that mindset, you can't come down mentally. So I tell all my students, find a reason to get out of bed, like find something you care about. For me, it's veterans, you're gonna find that passion again because, I want to be a soldier, but when I wake up every day, my back hurts. So I'm like, okay, just kidding. I can't do it.
I'll look for
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Anytime. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
רוצים קפה שתקבל.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to photo you and them together.
All right, get.
אני אעזוב.
Second.
יפים כמוכם.
זה מתנה. כן, כן.
Look at me right here.
With the QR.
תקראו לפה, לכו
הכל. יש המייקרוצ'יפ גם.
אם אתה בורח. לא, בוא לצד שני, אוהד, לך לצד שני שלו. איפה אנחנו?
כן. Shirley, come.
יאללה, one. Right here. You going in? No? Okay, two. שנייה אחת. לא, בגלל שהילד הוא נמוך יותר, אני חייב את זה ככה. אוקיי, perfect.
All right,
Okay, thank you so much.
One second. מתנה בשבילך. כמה
I got one. I put it in my camera.
Naimo, by the way, excellent job. Everyone here loved it. Send me some pictures if you
I
can.
will.
And I'll
How many years you guys are here? Yeah, I want to ask you something. We are working of maybe doing a big Shabbaton. More than a Shabbaton, it's like a trip for Chabad on campus. And I thought of our